look at how we can reflect a graph across either the x-axis or the y-axis. To graph negative f of x, where we change the sign of the entire function, we'll reflect the graph of our original function across the x-axis. If we want to graph f of negative x, where we only change the sign of x, then we reflect the graph of f of x across the y-axis. Let's consider f of x equal to negative square root of x. In this case, we're going to start with the graph of square root of x. Before, when we deal with square root, we can input positive numbers and we'll output positive numbers. We're allowed to take the square root of a positive number and we will get a positive output. But now I still need to input the same things, but my outputs are going to be negative. This means we're going to reflect across the x-axis so that now my outputs will be negative. Here's a picture where this orange top function is the square root of x. And when I do negative square root of x, instead of an output of 1, I'll get an output of negative 1. Instead of an output of 2, I'll get an output of negative 2, etc. So I have flipped this graph across the x-axis. Now let's consider the function f of x equal to square root of negative x. We're still going to start with the square root of x. In this time, instead of inputting positive numbers, I need to input negative numbers so that I have something like the square root of negative 1, or the square root of negative 16. So this means we now need negative x values, which means we're going to reflect across the y-axis to change the sign of our x values. Here, this graph on the right, this is the square root of x. And instead of an input of 1, I need an input of negative 1. Instead of an input of 2, I need an input of negative 2. Instead of an input of 3, I need an input of negative 3, etc. So I've moved this graph across the y-axis to get the square root of negative x.
If you would like to see Professor Pierce make more videos like this one, you can support her on Patreon in the link below. Any and all support means a lot to her. It allows her not only to make more videos, but it also allows her to campaign for free and accessible online education to conferences and other universities. Thank you for watching, and remember, math is for everyone.